Well, folks, it isn't every day that we get to cover a positive story here on the channel. The news is pretty depressing these days, and there's so much chaos going on out there. And I do feel that we have to continue to talk about it and face it head on if we're ever going to defeat the extreme radical right that's out there today. But this story here caught my attention because finally I said to myself, this is someone who gets it and is willing to learn, even at his age. This clip here went viral. There was a man in Wisconsin who had came to speak on behalf of an anti-trans health bill, but when he got there and began talking to people, he realized the error of his ways and just came right out and said it. And you don't see this every day, especially from an older white man. I got to be honest, I was kind of looking at it at one point going, is this AI? Did this really happen? Because that's how few and far between these kind of stories are. But it was very uplifting, and I was very inspired to see this man say that his eyes have been opened. And I say to anyone who says that it's never too late to open your eyes to other people and the things they go through. So let's take a look at this clip, and then we'll talk more about it.
So, all right, Larry, the floor is yours. You got 2 minutes.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to you people. I was invited here to give my support for Bill 401. I have very little knowledge of gay people and things like that there. So when I came here, my eyes were open. I was one of the critics that sat on the side and made the decisions there was only two genders. So I got an education that was unbelievable. And I don't know just exactly how to say this, but my perspective for people have changed. So I don't take up no more of your time. I'd like to apologize for being here, and I learned a very lot about this group of people.
All right.
You know, folks, that speaks a lot to the man's character, that he could go into it with one stance and then after talking to people realize just how flawed his stance was and come away with a completely different way of looking at it. So I applaud him for having the courage to say that out loud. And I think more and more people just needs to stop and realize that really all we've ever been asking people to do is just listen to people and understand what they go through, try to understand what they go through and listen to the struggles that they face and to the discrimination that they've faced down and understand that they're just trying to live their lives the way everyone else is. You know, this has become an issue. It's a very a hot button issue that does get a lot of emotion stirred up, and it does get people fighting one way or the other. And I can't count the times that people have made comments to me, and sometimes they may not even have meant these comments to be in a derogatory way, or they may not have had any ill will toward these type of comments, but I've had people say stuff like, Brando, now you better be careful when you talk about transgender issues, because you might speak the wrong way, and you might piss them off, and then they might come at you and try to take down your channel and try to cancel you and all this. And that's not been my experience with it. I mean, I've had people get mad at me over certain things I've said, and they may never come back around. But for the most part, the overwhelming majority has been very supportive, and I've had trans people reach out to me, and we have sat and swapped messages back and forth, and I've developed a better understanding about about what it is that they go through. Went out and played a show last year, and had a trans person come to my show and thank me for standing up with them and talking about the issues at hand. And we sat and talked about everything. And I said right out loud to their face that day that, you know what, I may not always get it right, and I may misspeak, or I may say something the wrong way. And what I was told was, we understand that, but you're at least, you're standing on our side and speaking up for us, and we're not going to get mad at you if you say a word the wrong way or say a phrase the wrong way. As long as you're willing to learn and understand, then, you're on our side. And so I think what I would say to people also is stop listening to these right-wing bro podcasters tell you about transgender issues. There are people who are sitting there making their own assumptions. There are people who sits and scrolls social media till they find a video or a clip or an article that already fits the preconceived notion and the preconceived hate and bigotry that they already had, and then they try to pass that around as knowledge. And that's not good for anybody. Don't sit and listen to them talk about it, because they don't know what they're talking about, and they're only further dividing people and further dividing everyone on this issue. And when I sit and think about the fact that so much hate has been aimed at the transgender community, so much unnecessary hate has been aimed their way, When I did the story about the fact that there's 500,000 athletes in the NCAA, 500,000, 500,000 in the NCAA, and less than 10 are trans. I say to people in my part of the world all the time, these issues you're worried about and these things you're scared of, first of all, is never coming to your town. You're never going to face it. You're never even going to realize that you're around it. But when you start posting that type of hatred online and you start posting those types of jokes and you start punching down at people, your trans family member sees it, and you may not even realize they're trans because they're not going to talk to you. They're sure not going to go to you as a shoulder to lean on or talk to. So they see that type of hatred coming from you, and they're never going to confront you with what it is that they're going through. So I think people just needs to be more mindful of what they put out into the world and realize that sharing these heartless jokes and these stupid hot takes from people like Charlie Kirk, that's doing nothing to move the conversation forward. And I'm a believer that I say here all the time on the channel, I'm not about giving people handouts. It's about making sure everyone has a fair hand to play in this world. And that's what I want to see. And I can't sit back here and talk about liberty. And I can't sit back here and talk about freedom. And I can't sit here and shout, "Don't tread on me," which I'm never going to shout that ridiculous bullshit. But I'm just saying, you can't sit and shout phrases like that if you're okay with the government treading on other people. And let me say this, your opinion on the transgender community or your beliefs on the transgender community is just that, but it should not weigh into any forum of our federal government. Your opinion on it shouldn't matter one way or the other. It's got nothing to do with you. The gay couple down the street is not affecting how you feed your family every day. So that's why I don't go off on these rants about the radical left, because first of all, who the hell is the radical left? Who are they actually? Give me specific names as to who they are. And if you say Bernie Sanders and AOC, I'm going to laugh in your face, because even they wouldn't be considered radical left. When someone like Trump calls Kamala Harris and Joe Biden radical left, I laugh out loud because of how ludicrous that is. So the reason I don't go off on rants about the radical left like Bill Maher and spend all my time sitting there shitting on that is because the radical right is out here trying their damnedest, bringing bill after bill to the table that targets this community and is going out of their way to make their lives harder. And it's no one's business how another person lives their life. And if you truly want to have freedom and you want to have your own liberties and you don't want any of your rights taken away, then you can't be for someone else having theirs took away. I know that may be a very simplistic way of looking at it, but that's just how I've always seen it. And to that man in Wisconsin, I applaud him for having the courage to walk up there and say that anyway. You know, he could have easily maybe got humbled and went home and never said another word about it, and none of us would have knew about it. And that may have happened more times than we realize. There may be people out there who have had a humbling moment, but they're never going to have the courage to speak up and say, you know what, I got that one wrong. And to the people out there who are, who may have had those kind of moments and you've not spoke up yet, let that guy be the example that you look at and go, you know what, there's nothing wrong with us speaking up about this. There's nothing wrong with us admitting that we got one wrong. I don't think that we're ever going to win people over by yelling at them. I don't think we're ever going to win people over by, hot takes or whatever the case may be. But I always say that we're planting seeds. And that's what I try to do here on the channel. I just simply try to plant seeds. I know there's trolls listening. I know they hang in there. They probably watch longer than the casual listener does because they're hanging on every word I say and they're wanting to pick a fight. And to them, I would say, stop. Just put yourself in someone else's shoes. Think about it from another perspective, and it's okay to say, you know what? I had that one wrong. I didn't know a whole lot about that subject. And if all you know about that subject is what you learned on Joe Rogan, then you was doing it wrong. You completely missed the assignment. You were doing it wrong all along. And stop and have conversations. If you want to know what a transgender person goes through, have a conversation with a transgender person, okay? Don't sit and listen to your bigoted, cousin sit and tell what he heard on Fox News, something he heard Jesse Waters say. That's never going to get you anywhere. Get out there, meet people, and understand people. And when you do, you'll realize that we really are all just trying to get through this world the best that we know how. But I do appreciate all of your support here on the channel. Thank you so much. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, be sure to do so. We're on the road to 1 million, and I'm not going to put a time frame on when we'll get there. But the rate we're going, we should get there pretty quick. So I appreciate y'all. It doesn't cost anything if you like what I do. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button. Now, if you ever do want to, contribute a few bucks here and there, I do have members only here on YouTube, and I also have a Patreon where I post a lot of stuff over there that you can't find anywhere else. But I truly appreciate everyone's support, and I hope everyone can take a lesson from this guy. And my bandana goes off to him.